Now then YouTube, I'm the TOFF man and welcome back to a complete guide on Thaumcraft 5. I've got to apologise straight off the bat guys. My voice doesn't seem to be getting any better. In fact, it seems to be getting worse. So you've got to really just bear with me on this one. So, as always guys, in the description below are going to be timestamps to everything that is in this episode. Go ahead, click on whatever it is that you want to find, and it will take you straight there. So we're going to start things off, guys, with Alumentum. Alumentum you can actually make by putting in coal with ignis, peditio and potentia, 3 points of each, using that as a catalyst, and you'll get Alumentum. Now, Alumentum actually is better than coal. It will be able to, you will be able to smelt more with Alumentum. So, and you can see this substance throbs with fiery energy and is more than eager to release that energy at the slightest bump. It may be unstable, but it will probably make a good source of fuel. It is probably not a good idea to throw it against a solid surface unless you enjoy explosions. And that is right, guys. If you get Alumentum, there it is, and you decide it is a good idea to chuck it around the place, expect an explosion when it hits the floor. Certainly. Right, next on the list is Nitor. Now, Nitor can actually be used as a light source as well as a heat source as well. As you can remember in the previous episodes, we've got a crucible there which we actually kept heated with Nitor. So, to make it, you want 3 ignis, 3 lux, and 3 potentia, with glowstone dust as a catalyst. The flame itself seems to be fueled by magic itself. The number of uses for an ever-burning flame seems endless, but unfortunately it seems to produce more light than heat. Despite that, it could still prove to be a steady source of energy. Nitor can also be placed in the world to act as a magical light source. It will take on the colour of any dye you combine it with, and that is something that's brand new for Thaumcraft 5. You can colour this any which way that you want to colour it, to make it any kind of light source that you want to be, that you want it to be. Once you've found both of these, you will then have access to Essentia Distillation. Now, this has changed in the way that you can craft. It's also changed slightly in the fundamentals and in how it actually works. So as you can see, guys, the Essentia Smeltery is crafted with 2 brass plates, a crucible, a furnace, and 5 cobblestone, with 25 ignis and 25 aqua. And this is the star of Thaumcraft itself. In the future, you will definitely need to have ready access to multiple different kinds of aspects, not just primal aspects drawn from your wand. Using basic alchemical principles, you've devised a way to break down objects and convert them into Essentia. The first step in this process requires an Essentia Smeltery. The smelter works much like a normal furnace by burning coal to produce heat, but instead of smelting ore into metal, it breaks down objects into a slurry of raw, unprocessed Essentia. This process isn't very efficient, and a small amount of Essentia is converted into flux roughly 20% of the time. This is something that we haven't actually been used to. The next step in the process is to take the Essentia slurry and distill it using the arcane alembics. To work, arcane alembics need to be placed on top of a smelter. Multiple alembics can be placed on top of each other to increase storage, but it does not influence processing speed. The Essentia slurry will be drawn into the alembic and the individual aspected Essentia separated out. If a smelter is being powered by Alumentum, this distillation process is much faster. The Essentia can be extracted out of an alembic using files, jars, or even more complex means, and we'll get to that in a second. Arcane bellows, this is something, again, previously, I'm not entirely sure if this was a thing in Thaumcraft 4. Arcane bellows placed on the side of a smelter will greatly increase the heat it generates, allowing items to be broken down into slurry much quicker. So let's take a look at this. Essentia, there we go, and we'll get the Essentia Smeltery. Looks different than what it was in the past, as you can see. It's got the brass plates going on. The interface is exactly the same. If we use Alumentum, there we go, stick that into the bottom there, and we get something like cobble, for instance. Oops. There we go. Let's get 55 of that, and it will start breaking it down, and you can see on the left-hand side, there is a load of this purple substance. Well, this is slurry. To separate this out, because at the moment it's just in here, and you can see these purple blobs going into the atmosphere. That is flux. 20% of the time it will be changed into flux, and remember that, guys. It's a very, very important stat. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this. Now, let me go into here so you can see. The arcane alembics, which also look a little bit different, is 4 great wood planks, 2 Essentia filters. You remember in the previous episode I showed you how to craft them, a bucket, and 2 brass plates with 50 aqua and 25 air. Arcane alembics, oops, there we go, and they're there. Look slightly different than what they have in previous versions, but you can place them on top of the smelter, and you can see, because I've got the goggles revealing on, it's actually started taking some of that slurry out, and you can see what's inside this arcane alembic. So let me go ahead and put a couple on here. There we go. And that should be good. So if we got, for instance, let's take that out, because that's got Peditio in it as well. We should be getting some, or we should be seeing some Peditio coming into this top one. I'm going to leave that doing that for a moment while I start explaining other bits and bobs. Now, once we've got that one, guys, it's important to note as well, there are different smelteries now. The Thaumium Essentia Smeltery, both of them have different aspects. The Thaumium Smeltery works much like the basic Smeltery, but it has roughly 85% efficiency instead of 80%. So in other words, 15% of it is going to be flux. Its main benefit is that it breaks down Essentia slurry at double the normal speed. So 2 brass plates, a normal Essentia Smeltery with a alchemical construct in the middle, and 5 Thaumium ingots will get that. You won't have access to that until you can get automated alchemy at the top here. So just keep that in mind. In fact, I've probably gone the wrong way about this. But never mind, I'm going to tell you anyway. Void Metal Essentia Smelteries. The Void Metal Smeltery works much like the basic Smeltery, but it has 95% efficiency instead of 80%. It breaks down Essentia slurry slightly quicker than the basic Smeltery, but not nearly as fast as the Thaumium Smeltery. So it's kind of like a weighing up kind of thing. When crafting the advanced alchemical construct, the primordial pearl is not consumed. It is merely required as a catalyst, and that's this thing right here. 4 alchemical constructs, 4 void metal ingots, and a primordial pearl, along with quite a lot of aspects here. And the void metal Essentia Smeltery is done with a Thaumium Essentia Smeltery, 2 brass plates, an advanced alchemical construct, and 5 void metal ingots. You will not have access to this for quite a while. Let me just tell you guys, you will not have access to that for quite a while. Going on further from the Essentia Distillation, then we can go down the warded jars and labels route. This is something that you will need to get before you get into Essentia Tubes. It's worth having some warded jars kicking around. You can craft these with glass panes and a slab, and only 10 aqua. Really doesn't take that long and that that much materials to craft. You can also make blank labels by putting in an ink sac with a slime ball and 4 paper. You can mark these labels with certain aspects by putting a blank label and whatever that Essentia you want it to be labelled right on there. And then you can clear a label by putting it into a crafting table and just taking it back out, and that will clear the label. So let me show you exactly what warded jars can do. There we go. Warded jar. Well, this will go ahead and store Essentia. In this case, Peditio is going to be inside here. Now remember, there is no other way, form, or anything you can store Essentia in. It doesn't act like a liquid, like a fluid, like any normal kind of thing. It does not act like that. So it's very, it's worth knowing that, guys. So why would you want to be able to make these warded jars? Well, it's simple. That's where you want the Essentia to go. So as you can see in this thing, guys, we've got Peditio in the top there, and we've got Terra down in the bottom right here. So if we got ourselves warded jars, warded jars right here, we would like to get these two out of here and into here. How do we do that? Well, it's pretty obvious, guys. Essentia Tubes. We'll get to that in a second, but I'm just going to show you the void jar. Obsidian, warded jar, and a blaze powder with 75 Peditio and 25 aqua will give you the void jar. And what difference this is between this and a normal one is once this void jar gets full, it will not, it will just dissipate all of the rest of any Essentia that does go inside it. So much the same as normal water jars, with one important difference. Even when full, they are still able to accept Essentia, whereas normal water jars don't. But the excess Essentia is simply vented as flux. This allows you to always have some Essentia of that type available, but get rid of any excess that might build up. So something to keep an eye on now, guys, is that this will give off flux. Very, very important as well. So, getting Essentia to move around the place is difficult. And unfortunately, in Thaumcraft 5, it seems to have got more difficult. Essentia Tubes. These things, 1 quicksilver drop, 1 golden nugget, 2 iron ingots, and a glass will give you Essentia Tubes. Now, these are the very basic Essentia Tubes that you can get. 25 aqua and 25 auto. You can also get Essentia valves, which basically act as a stopper, like a stop tap, basically, where if you take into account how water works in real life, you have stop taps. This will do exactly that, with a lever and an Essentia Tube. You can also get an Essentia resonator to see what's happening inside the pipes and what is backing up and where it's backing up, and you can see where problems are by using a stick, nether quartz, and 4 iron ingots. From there, let me show you exactly what these do. Oops. Essentia Tubes then. We're just going to get the normal Essentia Tubes. Here we go. Now, you would be forgiven in thinking that you could just do this. Whoops. And then do this. You'll end up with a problem. That right there is starting to vent, and that the basic reason is because there's 2 different types of Essentia that are trying to go through here. A way of seeing this is the Essentia resonator. As you can see, it contains 1 Peditio Essentia, but it can't go anywhere. It can't do anything, because at the moment there's 31 Terra that's trying to get sucked through this pipe, and there's 1 Peditio that's right in the goddamn way. We could go ahead and stick on the end of this right here a pipe. It's not going to do anything though. Why is it not going to do anything? Because it's stuck. It's simply stuck. There is 1 Peditio in here, whereas there is the suction is asking for Terra. This is asking for Terra. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And do this. And you've got your answer. It will start just going ahead and filling that up. Now what you can do, guys, is you can do something like this. Oops. Like that. Now that is a total mess, but take your wand and click away at these little things and it will stop it from connecting. We want that one to connect, but we don't want that one to connect. So we've got that. And basically, if we can get rid of these again, because they're all stuck, then Terra is still going to go into there, and Peditio is now going to go straight into here, not getting blocked by any of the Terra that's coming out of there. But keep in mind, guys, when you put something into here, keep in mind what that item actually has inside it. A good way of doing it, guys, is to go ahead and just disconnect that and that, boil it up, see how many aspects are in here, and just have individual piping networks going to different types, or well, different jars. The unfortunate thing is, in previous versions, you were able to do something, and I'm going to explain that in just a second. Going onwards from here, you can get advanced Essentia Tubes. Tubes that will allow you to do different bits and bobs. So you've got the filtered Essentia Tube. This Essentia Tube is pretty decent. You can have an Essentia Tube with an Essentia filter, and you can have a filtered Essentia Tube. Now let me show you what this can do. Filtered Essentia Tube. This will allow 1 Essentia to go through there, and literally only 1. So we can have that on side there, and it's now filtered. Well, how do you actually filter it? Let's go and get a label. There we go. And let's get some Terra, because that's what's in the thing. And let's get a crafting table, because I'm not bothered to walk all the way over there to my crafting table. And let's put that inside there with that, and now we've got a marked label. The way that we do this is we go up to the filtered Essentia Tube and right click on it, and now that will only ever let Terra go through there. It won't let anything else go through there, but things can still get backed up here. So be very, very careful, guys. It's a whole load of ball ache on how to actually get this done. But anyways, That is the filtered Essentia tube. That's effectively what it can do. A restricted Essentia tube works like normal tubes, except they have the suction. They have any suction passing through them. So basically, well, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It halves the suction, so it will make the suction not as strong. Directional Essentia tubes will force Essentia to go only in one direction. It's pretty obvious. As you can see, only accept suction from one direction. The blue markings indicate the direction from which the suction will be accepted, and it won't accept suction from any other direction. It will only the blue markings that it shows. The Essentia buffer, which requires Essentia valve, a restricted Essentia tube, and 2 Essentia tubes with 4 glass vials, is in a league of its own. I actually like the Essentia buffer with what it allows you to do. So, let me show you. The Essentia buffer allows you to store a limited amount of Essentia, 8 points total, though it can be made up of any combination of Essentia types. Like a jar, it has suction, though it applies the minimum amount of suction possible. This means that it is usually only able to draw Essentia from an Essentia source it is directly attached to. However, tubes can be connected to all sides, meaning that it is invaluable for getting Essentia out of devices like centrifuges that could contain variable types of Essentia. You can attach bellows to the buffer. Each attached bellows increases its suction by 32. Additionally, you can toggle individual connections on and off with a normal tube, but if you shift-click the connection, it will choke the suction back to 1 or none on that side. Now, last time I tested this in beta, it wasn't working, and I'm going to try that for you today, because this is the best way of being able to sort this system out. So let me do this, get some more tubes. Oh, I've got them there. And let me get my buffer. There we go. Now, in the past, what everyone has done, I mean literally everyone, has had something that looks a little bit like, well, we'll have to move you a little bit. A little bit like, I'm going to put you there. Okay, like that. You had a bellows behind it, and this will force all of the aspects, every single Essentia, to go into this buffer right here. So what we can do is this. Like that. And then 8 Essentia will end up inside here. So what you would do is you would put a buffer on top of these. And we can go ahead and do this with a water jar, which we don't have left, unfortunately. There we go. And what you would do is put Essentia buffers all over the top of these. Now, in the past, when you've shift and right clicked, it doesn't actually show it on here. And I'm wondering if it's a bug, and I'm pretty sure that this is a bug, because what you would usually see is a red outline on the outside of the tube or a blue outline, depending on what it says right here. So as you can see, it will choke the suction back to 1, which is the blue band, or none, which is the red band, and this will force everything to move along the line. It's not working in this particular version, guys. It would allow you to take it off and on, but it won't allow you to choke it or do anything. So basically, the whole system kind of falls apart, which is annoying, and I'm surprised that it hasn't been fixed yet. So we can do this, and we'll end up with Terra. We'll end up with all sorts coming into here. So you can see Terra, Preditio, everything's landing in here, but nothing's actually moving. It's really annoying. I mean, literally, it doesn't matter what kind of state that this is in, it doesn't want to move, which is really, really annoying, because again, the whole system doesn't work like that. But it will work like that, and I'm pretty sure it will get fixed in due time. But be very, very aware that at the moment, it's not working. The Essentia buffer is a massive key part in how that kind of system works. And of course, you can get the alchemical construct, which is 4 iron ingots, 2 Essentia valves, 2 Essentia tubes, and great wood planks in the middle, and that will get you that. Moving on from the advanced Essentia tubes are some more bits and bobs, but I'm going to do that, I think, in the next episode, because automated alchemy is going to be able to take a while to be able to go through there, and I think I've explained enough about tubes and bits and bobs in this episode. So if you've enjoyed it, please go ahead and leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Until then, I've been the TOFF Man as always. Stay safe.